everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am set up here in my bedroom and I thought I would do an updated Q&A video. I haven't done this in a really long time and I always think these are so fun to watch. What I did for this time is I used the Instagram question feature. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, please go and do so. My username on there is Hello Julia Graf, really simple. And you can follow me on there. And I do like to use the stories feature a lot, and that's where I asked you guys to send me your questions. So I had a question by a username Matt Yogara. The question is, what is the most exhausting part of being a part of YouTube? Well, I don't know if I would say exhausting, but I would say something that's kind of challenging, always being there. If you have like a regular job where you go to work in the morning and then you come back in the evening, most people, you can just, at the end of the day, you kind of shut off and then you're away from work and then that's it. And then you have the evening to relax and to spend with your family or whatever. That's the main difference when you do have like a job like I do where you're online all the time. It's really hard to plan in off periods when you're not on your phone, where you're not checking social media, where you're not checking your stats, where you're not, thinking about the next video. So what I like to do is sometimes just give myself a little social media break, but I've never done a total social media break where I have banned myself from using the phone or computer for a certain amount of time. Like I've never really done that. I've kind of just taken times where I'm not as present on social media, or maybe I'm not checking my messages, or I'm not, posting on YouTube or posting on Instagram and stuff. So I had another question from Jill Hair and Makeup, and she asks, please give your suggestions if someone wants to start their own YouTube makeup channel. This is a tough one because honestly, when I started my channel back in 2008, oh my God, that was 10 years ago. That's kind of crazy. It was just very different than how it is now, because now there are literally thousands of channels on YouTube, or probably millions, or I don't know how many channels there are on YouTube, but the beauty community has grown so much and there are so many creators now, and a lot of them are making kind of very similar type of videos. So I do feel like now it has gotten a lot more competitive to really start a channel from zero and stand out. I think it has gotten tougher just because the market has become so saturated. I'm not trying to discourage people from doing makeup and beauty tutorials, but just realize probably the starting, phase will be difficult and you can't expect immediate results. But I would say, you should really just make videos about something you love. If you have a niche, don't expect immediate success, because honestly, it took me years to start getting a regular community and to start building like a following or just subscribers and stuff. So it took me years until I could say that my channel was somewhat successful. So don't expect that immediate turnaround and be like, oh, I'm going to post 5 videos and then I'm going to go on all these brand trips and I'm going to be super successful. You really have to be in it for the long haul. And so also just be aware that you do have to invest a lot of time and money, I guess, if you want to buy some equipment and stuff. I mean, you don't need the top notch, like thousands of dollars of equipment right at the beginning, but you do need to invest some money into equipment. If you're not really worried about numbers and like how many subscribers and being like super successful, then just go for it. Just see it as a hobby, something you like to do for fun. I think it all depends how you go into it, and having realistic expectations. I think, don't go into it for the wrong reasons. I had another question from Bourgeois Aspirations. I love that username. Are you planning on doing a garden in your yard next season? If so, flowers, food, or both? So actually this house does have a garden. There was already kind of a garden planted when we moved in. So there are already some plants in the garden. This summer, I feel like it's already too late. Like it's already August now, by fall time, the garden kind of starts to wither down. So I think next year, that's going to be my next project. Like this year, we moved in July or June, or end of June, July. So my project for this year is really kind of getting the house into shape and doing a lot of home improvements. Next spring, I do want to do some changes to the garden, because there's definitely some things that I want to change, or new plants that I want to do. I don't really think I will do food planting. I don't know, I'm just not much of a food planter. I just feel like it's more convenient to just go to the grocery store and buy like organic food. So I'm just lazy in that way. Actually, we do actually have already in this garden, there's a grapevine and there's tons of grapes on there. Maybe that'll be some interesting videos. If you guys are into gardening, let me know, because maybe I'll do some gardening videos. All right, I had another really interesting question, and that was, do I have any upcoming travel plans? And indeed I do. I'm so excited. Well, we've already actually gone on a holiday, I guess, at the beginning of the year. We went to Canada for 2 weeks to visit my family. You know, it is nice, obviously, to see my family because they live in Vancouver. To those of you guys who don't know, I am Canadian and Swiss. I live in Switzerland. I love seeing my family, but I don't really consider it as my own like personal vacation. I feel like it's more just like family time. In October, so the second or third week of October, we are going to Italy, which I'm so excited about because I absolutely love Italy, and we're doing a road trip. So we are driving down to Bergamo, which is on the northern part. We're staying there, and then from there we're going to Verona, the site of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. I think it's supposed to be really beautiful. And then we're heading over to Venice for a few days. We're going to be staying in Venice, which is so exciting. I have been to Venice before, my husband hasn't, so I thought it'd be cool to go there with him. The last stop we're going to is Bologna, which is a really cool university town. That's I think it's the oldest or one of the oldest universities in all of Europe. Not super touristy, and it's supposed to be the food capital of Italy, so it's the absolute perfect place for us to visit. And then from Bologna, we're going home. So all in all, I think the trip is about 10 or 11 days, something like that. All right, I have another question from Natura, and she asks, when you started YouTube videos, is this where you thought you'd end up? Absolutely not. When I started YouTube videos back in 2008, it was really just for fun. Yeah, what the heck, I'll try it, because I'd been posting on makeup forums, and there's actually some people who are still subscribed to my channel who used to post on makeup forums that I was posting on, namely spectra.net, which was like a Mac focused makeup forum, and I was posting there, and then I posted my first video on YouTube just for fun. A lot of people who had been, I guess, chatting with me on the forums, they ended up watching my videos. Why is this fly? This one damn fly is so annoying. My channel grew really quickly in the beginning. There weren't a lot of makeup channels when I started. I think like X Sparkage was one of the first ones that I watched, and Julie G713, Purse Buzz, oh my gosh, this is bringing back memories, Encore Makeup. I don't think anyone on YouTube at that point really knew how YouTube would take off, because back then there was no monetization. It was really just for fun. People were not earning any money from their videos, and everything was just like filmed on crappy webcams. Everything was just so basic. And honestly, I feel like that's what made that community so special. It wasn't so competitive as it is now, and it was just really this awesome, small little beauty community that was just starting. And it was just like people who are really into makeup and just beauty, and I don't know, I just have such fond memories back in the day when everything was just so simple and basic. It's like, oh, the good old days of YouTube. You know, that some people, like I said, always comment. They're like, oh my God, I've been subscribed to you since like the very beginning. And that just means the absolute world to me. So thank you guys so much. All right, I had a question by Katharian Jansen. Does your new house have storage? What's your favorite thing about your new house? So yes, our place does have storage. We have a cellar, which is like a proper cellar. We keep all our wine down there, so we basically have like a wine cellar, but it's also a really good place to store like food. This house, actually, I didn't mention this in my house tour. It's actually a heritage house. So this house is protected under Swiss heritage house laws. So because it's an older house from the outside, it looks kind of very traditional Swiss, like it's really cute. So it does have that cellar, because back then, like when people, you know, way back then, they used cellars, like root cellars, to store their food and stuff. So now it's been all modernized, like the whole house has been renovated, but the cellar is really cool because we do keep some food stuff down there. We keep all our wine down there. I mean, it's amazing to have like a wine cellar now. And then we also have an attic, and then we have another little storage room that's kind of at the back of the house. I didn't show that in the room tour because it just is like stuff in there, but we've set that up really cool. There's lots of shelving that we've put in there. And the second part of your question is, what's the favorite thing about your new house? First of all, that it's ours. You know, having rented like my entire life, it's really nice to finally say that, you know, we own this place. It's such a good investment for the future. And also just being able to customize things, you know, like we can put in, like we put in our own hardwood floors, which I love. I love the floors that we picked, and, you know, we painted. I'm thinking of maybe doing, you know, maybe this like an accent wall, a different color, or, you know, doing a mural. I'm kind of thinking about doing a mural on one of the walls. I love being able to do that now, because when you're renting here, at least in Switzerland, there's a lot of stuff that you can't do that. You know, I feel like we have so much space here. Like this room is just huge, and I can film in here. I can do my makeup in here. And it's just bigger than where we lived before. So I had a question by Pasties, and she asks, why did you start eating meat again? Oh boy, this is the $1 million question. So people have been asking me this ever since I revealed that I was eating meat again. I was a vegetarian for about 1.5 years. So I really did go vegetarian. I stopped eating meat. I was not vegan, so I was eating dairy products. The reason also that I did go vegetarian is just to have less of an impact on the environment, because consumption of meat is a huge driving force to CO2 emissions in the world. You can look it up, there's tons of facts behind it. First of all, I'm living with a husband who is very much pro-meat. So my husband never went vegetarian with me. Especially in the beginning, I found that hard, is because, you know, he would eat meat in front of me, and I found it hard to sometimes say no. So at first had the difficulty of adjusting. So first of all, living with a non-vegetarian person, it's really difficult. I found it very difficult. What I found really hard is that it was so hard socially. I don't know how it is in other countries. I think like let's say you live in California, it must be so easy because there must be so many vegetarians and vegans, and there's so many options. Like if you go out to a restaurant, there's always vegetarian options on the menu, and there's always a lot of vegetarian or even vegan options. And I found it here really hard when I did go out to eat to dinner with friends. There would basically be, in many restaurants, nothing for me to eat, because I feel like in Switzerland it's kind of just starting here, this awareness of like vegetarianism and vegan. Of course there are vegans and vegetarians here, but it's a very sort of meat-centric diet in Switzerland. None of my friends were vegetarians, and none of my friends were vegans. And so I found the social aspect really difficult, because whenever we would go out or we would be invited to somebody else's house, but I had to like tell them like I'm a vegetarian, and then they would feel obligated to make something different for me. And you'd go out to eat, and it was just like a group of friends of us. We'd be going to a restaurant, and of course they wouldn't want to go to a vegetarian restaurant. Of course there are some vegetarian restaurants, but if you're with a group of people who eat meat, like they don't want to go to a vegetarian restaurant. So then we would go to like a normal restaurant, and I would just have almost no options on the menu of what I could choose. And it'd be like, okay, well, there's one vegetarian dish, so I guess I'm eating that. So it ended up that I never wanted to go out anymore to eat, because it was just like, there was no choices for me. I really like to follow a low carb lifestyle for most of it. I mean, of course, sometimes I do eat carbs. I'm not like, oh, carbs are evil, I'm never eating carbs, but during the day, I do like to eat low carb. I did do a video showing you guys how to do low carb on a vegetarian diet, but it is way more difficult than when you are eating meat as your protein source and as your fat source. You know, one of the substitutes that they say for vegetarians is to eat legumes, so like beans and like all different kinds of beans. And I can't really eat beans because I get stomach issues when I eat beans. Like this might be a little bit TMI, but I get basically IBS. I don't know, it didn't used to be like that. I think it just, I got this kind of sensitivity to legumes a few years ago, and whenever I eat beans, I'm like sitting on the toilet the next day for the whole day. TMI, but yeah, so I couldn't really substitute beans, any kind of beans, for my proteins. And so I'd have to eat like tofu and stuff, and I just really, I'm not a huge fan of tofu. Then what I found is that I was substituting a lot of, for the fats, I was substituting a lot of like dairy products. I was consuming way more dairy products again. And then I thought, well, this doesn't really make sense if you're trying to reduce CO2 emissions to then eat like tons more dairy products, because that's still contributing. And I know some people are gonna say, well, go vegan, and you know, that's great for you. That's personally not the lifestyle that I wanna choose for myself. I found it really hard to kind of stay on low carb without eating meat, because I found myself always eating the same things because I couldn't eat any kind of beans. Just really narrowed the amount or what kinds of foods I could eat. All those reasons, I just decided to start eating meat again. And I do eat a lot of chicken. I don't really eat a lot of beef and lamb and like those really resource intensive meat. So you can look up, you know, what kind of meat is way more resource intensive than others. Of the meat that there is, I do eat mostly chicken. So I feel like, you know, it's not perfect. Like I would love to be someone who like stuck with it and it just worked out great for me, but it just didn't. I think it would have been so much easier if my husband was also vegetarian. Like even the supermarkets are now starting to stock way more vegetarian and vegan things when that wasn't like that a few years ago. So I'm hoping that it'll change, and you know, maybe in the future at some point I will want to go vegetarian again, but right now it just doesn't really suit my eating plan. I hope you guys liked this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell right beside that button, and then turn on all notifications for my channel. That way you'll get updated every time I post a new video, because YouTube is no longer telling all my subscribers when I've posted a video. Thanks YouTube, it's really awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.